Hello dreamers, my name's Lisa and I'm the Dreamwork coach. In today's video, I'm starting a new segment that I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. Best I can think of at the moment off the top of my head is submit your dreams, which pretty much says what it is. If you want to submit one of your dreams for this segment where I will be going over all the Dreamwork steps with one of your dreams to help you get to the bottom of what it means, you can go to my website at thedreamworkcoach.com and click on submit a dream, and then your dream will be in the running for one of these episodes. Today's dream comes to us from Dylon White, who is from Manitoulin Island, and he is a fellow Dreamworker friend of mine. Dylon shares a daily dreamcast on social media with the goal of teaching the world how to dream. And he can be found under the handle at @GrumbleDude. And I must say that he is extremely entertaining to follow. So if dreaming is your thing, please check him out on social media and send him some love. So let's get right in. The title of Dylon's dream is Bruce Willis is Pissed. So this, I knew as soon as I read the title, I was gonna get pretty interested in this dream. And the dream, I'm gonna read it the way that he submitted it to me. The dream is, I wake up in a lucid dream and I discover that I share a small apartment with the actor Bruce Willis. We are in his modest bedroom and boy is he ticked at me. It's as if I violated his most sacred of sacred spaces, but I have no idea what I've done. I keep trying to reason with him. Bruce, if you could just calm down and explain. But he just keeps raging around, looking at me, pointing and yelling. Dylon, you know very well what you did. No, Bruce, I really don't, I reply, shrugging my bewildered shoulders. This scene repeats over and over until I finally realize that it's going nowhere and I just decide to leave. In the other room, I find a mirror, which I decide to step through. There's a slight resistance as I do, as if I'm stepping through wet sand. In the studio that's on the other side of the mirror portal, I encounter someone dressed as an evil enchantress. I immediately go over and give her a hug. This causes her to melt in my arms, all while screaming, "Oh no, how on earth did you know that love is my only weakness?" I would rate the quality of this performance as humorously disinterested to the point of uber cheesy. So Dylon's feelings on waking was that he felt very amused and also super curious and wondering what Bruce Willis might have been dreaming about on that same night. The reality check, he says that in the spaces of the dream scenes, like where the dream took place, were very familiar. Like the shared apartment had the essential layout of my grandparents' cottage where they lived next door to us growing up. And the studio behind the mirror was also intimately familiar as a version of my childhood home, which was right beside my grandparents' cottage. So all the scenes in the dream are reminding him of a space from when he was a child. And he goes on to say, this lucid dream is the first time I stepped through a mirror portal, which is something that went on to become a common dreamland occurrence. Man, I wish I had a mirror portal. That sounds so cool. So I ask in the submission form online that you will find if you go on there, what do you want to know about this dream? What specific questions do you have about it? And Dylon writes, he wants to know, what the heck was Bruce Willis so pissed about? Was he simply an aspect of my subconscious, or did I really unwittingly invade someone else's sacred dream space? He also wants to know who was the cheesy enchantress, and why was love her only weakness? So that was his submission, and let's go through it right now. So this is where I'm going to give my if it were my dream feedback. I want to say that it's important to word the feedback this way by saying if it were my dream, so that Dylon doesn't feel like I'm telling him what his dream means. I obviously don't know what his dream means to him, but I can give him some possibilities that might get the gears turning in his head to kind of like, you know, maybe be a spark of illumination where he'd be like, oh my gosh, that's resonating with me. But we say it this way if it were my dream, so that he doesn't feel like I'm just telling him this is what it means, because only you can know what your dreams mean. So this is just meant to be an exercise where you can get different ideas from different people on what they think the dream was if it were theirs, through their own filter, through their own, lens. So I actually have quite a lot to say about this dream. I would break it down into 3 parts. The first part where I'm with Bruce Willis and arguing in my apartment. The second part being the mirror portal itself, the transition in the dream. And then the third part being when I find the evil enchantress who is immediately disarmed by a simple hug. So those are the main 3 parts that I'm going to kind of focus on here. So let's get to Bruce Willis. So Bruce Willis often plays characters that it's like a wise ass with conflicted emotions. I've seen Bruce Willis play this character that Dylon is explaining in the dream. Like, I can picture it and I can hear him, it sounds like a character he's playing. A lot of times he's a combination between like a tough hero and this guy that he goes after whatever he wants, and he'll do whatever it takes to get what it is that he needs. And I would just wonder, is there someone in my life that shares these similar traits? And is there someone in my life specifically that kind of reminds me of how Bruce Willis is acting and, the types of characters he plays, that I'm having communication issues with? And I say that about the communication issues because in the dream, Bruce Willis is pissed. It's literally the title of the dream. He's mad and angry and lashing out at me, and I literally have no idea why. I don't know what I did. We are talking in circles and getting nowhere and not understanding each other at all. So looking at my life, is there a situation in my life that feels like this? Am I having a hard time explaining myself to somebody, or is someone having a hard time understanding me? Did I accidentally overstep a boundary with someone that I didn't even know existed? And am I feeling maybe attacked for no good reason? I also want to bring into the conversation here, is there a time in my past that I might have felt that way? Is there someone in my family that reminds me of this Bruce Willis character? And I say that because from the reality check, the dream scenes are places, they're very reminiscent of places that I knew as a child, family places that I knew as a child. So could something have been an issue in the past that's just now coming back up for some reason in this dream? Is there someone in my life now that's kind of triggering these feelings and emotions again? And not to mention, Bruce Willis might have been an actor in a lot of movies at the time that, my grandparents lived in that cottage and whatever. So that might tie into a time period, a clue to the time period where these feelings are coming from as well. And then my final thought on this first segment of the dream is that Bruce Willis keeps repeating a phrase to me. He keeps saying, "You know what you've done. Dylon, you know what you've done." And just from my personal experience, I would wonder if that could be a literal thing. Do I need to think about something I did? What do I know I've done? What is that? I just noticed that in some of my dreams, when a dream character gets in my face and keeps repeating a phrase, it might be that I need to take that absolutely literally. It's trying to, that dream character wants me to wake up with that phrase going on in my head. They want this to be memorable because I need to be thinking, what did I do? What did I do? What? I feel like maybe it's a warning or an important phrase that needs to be taken more literally and less symbolically. And that's just one possibility as well. So then in the dream, we leave the situation with Bruce realizing this is going nowhere. We're talking in circles, and jump through the mirror portal into the next scene. So jumping through a mirror in a dream seems so symbolic to me. It seems so cool. To me, since it's a lucid dream, jumping through that mirror, to me, represents going to a different level of consciousness. It's a transition. And specifically going into an area where I can see reflections, I can reflect, an area for reflection. where I can kind of see myself better and who I really am beyond the simple reflection that I see in the mirror. I also feel like walking through a mirror is very dualistic. Like, it makes me think of the duality in the dream and then also in reality and just in life, where the other side of a mirror, our reflections, are literally the opposite of what's on this side of the mirror. Like, it's literally walking in through a portal into opposite land. So maybe walking through a mirror, leaving a kind of hostile situation and walking into this other situation where I'm actually able to disarm this, cheesy enchantress with a simple hug. Like, maybe it's showing me something. Maybe it's a reflection of my life where in one situation I'm feeling attacked, and then on the other hand, there is opportunity for growth here. And this evil enchantress, this cheesy, overacting, dramatic evil enchantress living on the other side of the mirror, so she's on the other side of the mirror, she is like literally a reflection of the situation I was just in, right? So she's an aspect of that. She is showing me more about what just happened, if it were my dream, right? So on one side of the mirror with Bruce, I am being made to think that I am capable of provoking terrible rage from somebody. And then on the opposite side, I am able to diffuse a situation with a very simple hug, like a simple show of compassion. It makes me think that on this side of the mirror, I'm being shown the solution to how I could handle the situation on the other side of the mirror, with a little compassion, perhaps. I'd like to add that this evil enchantress's performance was described as humorously disinterested to the point of uber cheesy. So to me, this indicates drama. What in my waking life is being over dramatized that could be diffused with just a simple show of compassion? Maybe this super dramatic person in my life just needs a hug. Maybe Bruce Willis just needs a hug. And speaking of her super cheesy disguise, I have to wonder what in my life could be disguised as bad that's actually harmless underneath the surface. Is there an overly dramatic situation in my life where a little love and understanding could go a long way? Maybe I just need to see it from the opposite perspective, from their side of the mirror, in order to gain some clarity on the situation. And then once again, if it were my dream, I would definitely be looking at my oldest relationships here because of the ties with the scenes in the dream to my childhood home, basically, where my grandparents lived and everything. So I would be looking at closest, oldest relationships, like with family. Perhaps there's something there. So that was a lot, but that was such a cool dream. Like, I really thought a lot about this dream, and I just kept coming up with new things. So hopefully this resonates with you a little bit here, Dylon. If not, no hard feelings on my end. I'm just, if it were my dream, that's why we say it that way. So this is the point in the process where I would ask Dylon if there's anything he's going to do to honor this dream, any action steps that he's going to take on it. So maybe Dylon can let us know down in the comments below what it is that he plans on doing with this dream, if anything, to kind of bring it to life in this world a little bit more. All right, my camera battery died, and now I feel like it's darker in here somehow. So please don't forget to follow Dylon on social media under the handle @GrumbleDude. He is truly a unique spirit and a gifted dream worker who is following his passion to bring dreaming to the world. And if you would like to submit one of your dreams for this segment, go to my website at thedreamworkcoach.com and fill out the form that says submit your dream, and maybe your dream will be up next. Make sure to check out my workshops while you're on there and all the other fun stuff on the website. So like this video, subscribe, you know the drill. Until next time, happy dreaming.